In Module 6 of Chapter 10, we'll look at American option pricing and how we'll apply the binomial lattice structure to account for early exercise. American options have two values. One value is the value if left alive, which is to say the value of holding it for another period and not exercising it currently. If we exercise it currently, of course, it's the payoff function for a call being the maximum of 0 and s minus k, or the maximum of 0 and k minus s if it's a put. So the early exercise value is well defined, and the value if alive reflects the value of future exercise. To price an American call, we really need to reflect both values. So at any point in time, and for any price s, we really need to look at the maximum of two values, which I denote here as the maximum of A and B. A is the early exercise value. It's the value if we cash the option in immediately, and for a call it would be, say, s minus k. B, on the other hand, and this is not to be confused with the B, which is the T-bill position in our replicating portfolio. This is just simply a notation for a second term. B is in fact the present value, using a binomial lattice, of the values of the option in the next period. So you can observe the structure that B is the value of, this is B at time t. We look at the present value of one period, and then we have a P for the up state and a 1 minus P for the down state. This is the value of the call in the next state if the price goes up from where it is now at time t plus h, and this is the value of that call if it goes down. So in other words, what we're going to do is to do backward substitution through the lattice, and at each node double check if the value we've calculated is greater than or smaller than the exercise value. If it's smaller, we're going to just throw it away and replace it with the exercise value. Because we have to go through the binomial lattice using backward substitution step by step in order to value an American option, there is no formula, no shortcut for calculating the value of an American option at time 0 based only on its exercise values at maturity. You really do need to go through the lattice in detail and to evaluate this maximum function that we see here. So at each node, to summarize, we're going to check for early exercise. We're going to do the calculation starting at expiry just as if we were working with the European option. But every time we do a backward substitution calculation, that expected present value formula that I've been talking about, I think it's formula 10.3, we're going to check at that node early exercise and then simply work backwards through the tree. Here's a slide that presents the American version of the put option that we looked at earlier. You'll note on this particular slide that we have a typographical error. The last stock price in this state is actually 26.416 and not 29. But this is the same example we saw earlier of a put option, and we're going to deal with the American version of the put option because this stock does not pay dividends, and we know from earlier work that an American call on a stock that does not pay dividends has the same value as a European call on that stock. And you would observe this if you look back at the earlier tree where we evaluated the European call. You would find that the call value at each node was in excess of its exercise value, confirming that even if we had the option to exercise, we would not. But here for a put, we can consider early exercise. And early exercise is identified by bold-faced price. So, for example, at maturity here, we have exercise, of course, at the bottom two nodes. But you'll also notice here that the value of the option, 9.415, is bold, and that tells you this was an early exercise date. In other words, you can see, not coincidentally, the value of the option is exactly 40 minus the value of the stock, which is 30.585. So this is a place where the exercise value of 9.415 was in excess of the expected present value of the option exercises in the following period. In all the other calculations where we did expected present value, that was not so. So we can see, for example, here, the value of the option is $1.40, and it's out of the money. Here, the value of the option is 0. Here, the value of the option is 74 cents. It's out of the money. Here, the option is in the money. You can see right here the option is in the money at the down node, and the value of the option is $5.60, which is more than the exercise value of $4.60. So you can see in all these other nodes that we are better off holding the option alive than exercising, but in this particular node, exercise was optimal. The calculated value that we would have gotten at that time was 8,363. And this was the value we observed on the European put slide, is the expected present value of the future prices. And ultimately, the price we got for the put, which was $3.29, exceeded the value of the European version of this option of $2.99. So the early exercise is worth roughly 29.30 cents.